hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well on this stupendous Sunday. And you're looking absolutely marvellous, by the way. And this is video 3. That's it, 3. 3 of 3. So if you haven't seen the others, go check them out after this video. And we're getting straight into the meat and potatoes because it's Sunday and I know you've probably got better things to do. But we're talking about what I said I'd talk about in video 1. And that is Bryan Kohberger doing this crime. And this is, how can I say, right? So people want to say Bryan Kohberger did it, and there's some specific reasons that they believe that he did it. And the primary one seems to be that his world was falling apart. His world was falling apart. He was being investigated by the school for kind of his behaviour. He wasn't getting on. He'd been sort of pulled up on his behaviour. He was going for a disciplinary procedure. Now, let's just say that this has not been set in stone as factual. It absolutely hasn't. But it could be true. So we have to address it. We have to address it like it's true and see how that factors into what happened over in Idaho. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is that doesn't really make sense. If Bryan Kohberger's world was falling apart and he was about to lose absolutely everything and he just snapped, popped, went and done this crime, that to me doesn't make sense, because I feel that why would somebody, if there's no connection to the victims over in Moscow, Idaho, if there's no connection there, there's nothing there at all, this is just randomized, and it was, the catalyst was a loss of his position in the university, potentially not being able to continue in his studies, and he felt a failure. I can see how it can work. I can see how it can work 100%. But I fail to understand why he would then go from Washington and go over to Moscow, Idaho to do the crime. For a couple of reasons. One being that if he got caught in Moscow, Idaho, it would result in the death penalty. And in Washington, it wouldn't have. They don't have the death penalty in Washington, but they have it in Moscow, Idaho. So that decision there doesn't make sense to me. And I also feel if this makes you descend into chaos and you snap, then why wouldn't he have done it on his doorstep? Why wouldn't he have targeted the people at the university where he resided? Why would he not have blamed those that absolutely would have been, in his mind, causation for his issue? Because that's when someone truly snaps, isn't it? Someone snaps and they attack the very people who they believe in their mind. Even if they've been in the wrong, they'll blame others and they'll want to target them. That's why you have the gun issues and school shootings and things like that. There's some part of them that blames everybody else around them and they want to attack those around them. So, Bryan could have, he could have very easily got himself a firearm, and he could have very easily walked into that university, become quite notorious and opened up like we see countless times. So there was some degree of thought, if you believe that Bryan Kohberger did it, to not do it here and to go over to Moscow, Idaho and do it over here. And again, it doesn't appear to be random. If he's going into Moscow, Idaho on this night, he could have gone anywhere. He could have gone into the frat house and gone into that party and done something in there, couldn't he? But he decided to go to 1122 King Road, and a house that just happened to have these specific people in it, this specific dynamic in it. And that to me just doesn't sound random. It doesn't sound random. So for me, it doesn't go hand in hand with Bryan's life was starting to fall apart. He was then about to be sacked, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. He wouldn't have had the time to research and learn and do all his reconnaissance work between when that happened to when the crime happened. He just physically wouldn't have had the time. But let me know down below what you think. I'm trying to make him fit. I'm trying to make Bryan Kohberger fit. And if I'm brutally honest, again, like I said in video 1 earlier today, the only thing that makes Bryan Kohberger fit in this crime in my opinion, of course, is if there is a narcotics element to it, because that seems to be the thread that binds everybody together. It does. Bryan Kohberger sadly had a narcotics background, albeit we are led to believe that he had overcome it. He had come out the other side. He had, drug himself, Freudian slip. He dragged himself out of that sort of world into a better place. And then we have this house where on the peripheral of everybody, there seems to be a lot of things that have happened. And it's not only narcotics, but there are narcotics. You can't ignore it. You can't ignore it. But it's not the only thing. We have such things such as the Hannah Cleary thing on the peripheral. We also have the Hudson Lindau death as well on the peripheral. But if Bryan Kohberger did this crime, I would bet my bollocks to a barn dance that there is something to do with narcotics involved. And when factoring in some of the things that I mentioned in video 1, and if you didn't see it again, go and watch it, because that'll kind of make more sense. It kind of makes sense. It does kind of make sense that there's a possibility there. Let me know what you think. And I'll catch you all tomorrow.